All right. This is setting the tone, guys. Some of you who've been around a while probably seen portions of this, but when I was talking to Aaron the other day, I thought we're going to make it a little differently. Instead of just giving the start your engine, get everybody excited, we're going to put the tail end on part two, which is the how-to. So this is a mixture of a ton of knowledge, a ton of, getting your elbows scraped and knees, you know what I'm saying? I've been out in the trenches doing this for quite some time, and we've crock-potted this. If those people that don't know what I mean by that is there's two ways you can cook a meal. You can crock-pot it or you can microwave it. This is crock-pot, guys. So what I'm getting at here with you is it's all based on building blocks, because you can't capitalize on the perfect storm unless you do it correctly, and it takes some time. You got to have patience. But along the way, I believe, and I'll say it probably 6 or 7 times this morning, you should never, ever have an income problem. Okay, here we go. So let's go. The perfect storm, guys. This is a fun picture. I've shared this with several people before. It's a famous picture going back to 1945. The war ended. What happened was after the war, everybody came back and they got it on. And they had babies everywhere. Okay, I guess they had nothing better to do. They've been missing their husband or their wife. You know what I mean? Okay, so I don't need to go into that. We're not teaching on that this morning. Okay, but here's where we're going. Okay, but baby boomers, there's about roughly 84 million of them that were born from 1946 to 64. But what's amazing is the millennials are bigger. So we're talking the double wave. You know, us old timers here. Matter of fact, I was born in 1964, so I'm the last of the baby boomers, okay? The millennials obviously are bigger, and there's even another generation that I didn't even have time to put on the slide called Gen Z. He's sitting right behind me here. This is a 20-year-old. He was born, what year were you born? 2002 baby here, okay? There's a young generation, especially if you're young in here, from the age of 20, born in 2002 to 35, 40 years old. Guys, get ready. Look, I'm not putting down the 40-year-olds because it's always funny how the what they call Generation X, they go, why don't they talk about us anymore? Okay, you're coming too, okay? But here's what I'm saying is there's a lot of work to be done. Why is that? Well, listen closely. This is powerful. Most of you probably know this, but some of you might have an aha moment on this slide right here. This generation is not the first generation to retire, but they're the first generation to retire with their own money. See, prior to that, my dad, who's not a baby boomer, he retired with pensions, Social Security. There was no movement of money. The only movement of money was a little couple bucks in your savings account over at the bank. You see where I'm saying with this? That was the population. The baby boomer generation is the first generation where they handed the keys to them and said, you handle your own doggone money, and we got a benefit plan called a 401k. Now, isn't it interesting here? In 1978, the Revenue Act of 1978, through the Internal Revenue Code, introduced what we call a 401k. When was our company founded?
1977.
So do some math here. It's not tough. How much money was there to move in 1977? Zero. How much was there to move in 1978? Zero. Matter of fact, the first company that stepped up to the plate to develop a 401k benefit plan for their employees was Johnson & Johnson. FMC, Pepsi Cola, and guess what? J.C. Penney, okay? These were just the first developments from 1979 to 1982. Things really didn't generate until 1984. I became an RVP in 1990. So I think you'll see this as we kind of paint the picture before I get to the cookie today. The active participants in 1984 was 7.5 million people. Sounds like a lot, but not really. There was only $91 billion in 401ks. How many billions of dollars does Primerica have in force right now? Actually, about 80 billion, I think it is. Maybe I'm wrong. So listen to this, okay? Primerica has more than what it was in 1984. You see where I'm going with this? The wall of wealth is just in the beginning. So we're not here to ignore this and keep selling typewriters. Now, some people are going to get ticked off. The foundation of this business will always be term insurance and building blocks, which is recruiting. You can never forget that. And this whole entire presentation is not based on forget recruiting, forget term insurance. What I'm saying is that you cannot ignore And you can't ignore this. I'm telling you this, and it's almost impossible if you build your infrastructure properly as you build your foundation here. So looking off the stage here, how many people have all seen this? Please raise your hand. This is called the theory of decreased responsibility. Obviously, when you're young, you got kids, high debt, you need insurance. In the later years, we need to build wealth. Well, here's where my pet peeve, I'm rolling up my sleeves now. We cannot forget the invest the difference. You cannot forget that, plus the wall of wealth that is being involved, because in 1978, the first 401k went in place, and now it's evolving. In 1977, when our company was founded, there was zero money in 401ks, nothing. There was no assets to move. IRAs were kind of cooking along, but they weren't that big. I remember many years ago when I was an RVP in 1990, which I don't want to get ahead of 1977, but I remember getting a trade by accident. It was like a $20,000 trade, and all the people were in the room. We were sitting around, they go, "Where'd you find that?" "Oh my God, that's a lot of money. 20,000 bucks. Woo, I don't know. I just went on one of these appointments and had $20,000. Guys, I'm going to share with you here, things have changed. Matter of fact, let's take a little bit further. Looking at the 401k market, moving into 1990 when I went to RVP, active participants in 401ks was $19.5 million. Okay, so as these baby boomers age, let's look at the age right now. The youngest baby boomer today is 59 years old. What happens between 59 and whatever, 70? What's on the mind of every baby boomer? Retirement. There's 65 million participants involved in this, guys. This is huge. 401k, $5.28 trillion sit in 401ks, and this is the age bracket. Would you agree this is opportunity? Huge. Matter of fact, the average rollover, make sure you write this down because the whole presentation is going to base on it. In 2023, the average rollover is $250,000, and I'm speaking of retirement people, not people that are 30 years old that have left a job. Make sense? So write that down, $250,000 the average rollover. So let's take a look at the millennials. The youngest millennial, who was born in the year 2000, is 23 years old today. The oldest millennial is 43. Our philosophy has not changed, right? Buy, term, best the difference, making sure you insure, recruit, right? But here's what's going to happen, guys. The average 401k is 250 today. What do you think the average 401k is going to be?
Come over here and take the spot.
Years from now? We're talking $500,000 to $1 million per rollover. Now, some of us veterans, you probably already got your calculator out. You're probably going, "Holy moly, guys, we can't miss that." So would you agree we're sitting in a golden opportunity? We are, okay? Matter of fact, I call it the perfect storm. Right place, right time. That's what Shane talks about all the time. So to illustrate this, that's one heck of a wave there. We're the tsunami of wealth transfer, and you're on the beach there. You're probably going to die, okay? I mean, it's done. It's over with. But guys, you have to have a license to catch it. One of my biggest pet peeves, I understand getting a license and studying for exams sucks. It really does. Mike passed his mortgage test, so I got, damn it, now I got to go get it. Okay. So I went and got my mortgage test passed. I passed on the first time, which is a rarity for me. Usually it takes at least 3 or 4 times for me to pass an exam. I don't like that stuff. I hate studying. But doggone it, I'm going to get a license to catch some of this wealth. You understand? Now, some of you will be part-time with a Dixie cup. You'll be sitting there going, "Okay, let me catch a little bit." You will. It'll be very small. Some of you might be able to have that self-employed mindset like that little kiddie pool. And you'll catch some too. Okay. Matter of fact, there's some people that got some well put together RVP base shops, like a backyard pool, that will catch some. But man, I looked at this is cool, guys. I looked it up on the internet. I don't know if this is fake or not, because you never know on the internet anymore. But I Googled what is the largest pool in the world, and it's right there. It is like, crap, that is huge. So if you got a hierarchy, right, a big base shop, you're going to catch some of this. Would we all agree?
Right.
See, the wave is coming, but some of us are like inland, like way inland. You know what I'm saying? Like Nebraska. you might get a little bit of rain from that tsunami, but you ain't touch it, right? Ain't touching you. So guys, I think if you position your business properly, even though we're using this wave as an example, you're going to catch some big stuff and big fish. Okay, is everybody prepared for this? So I'm kind of setting the tone this morning, hopefully to kind of capitalize on where we can kind of go with this. Is this all fun? Is this good? Well, guys, I'm talking about, this is the greatest time in history to be an advisor. It's like right place, right time. If you look at what we just came from, okay, but in 2022, we had it all happen, okay? High inflation, rising interest rates, falling markets, geopolitical uncertainty, fears of recession. Would you agree that's all been going on? But despite the negative economic environment, 2023 is actually going to be one of the greatest times ever, guys, for the people who recognize it, for the ones that recognize it. Matter of fact, if you look at it here, even with this market turmoil, people are open to change. I came through the 08 era. Our greatest growth in our company back in Primerica, that was even before we went public, was in 2008, 2009, actually close to 2009. We capitalized on that bear market, and we're in one right now. Do not miss it, guys. I'm telling you, this is the perfect golden opportunity with this tsunami coming in. See, people are ready to switch advisors today. Number one reason, they didn't communicate with them. This is in the worst market volatility that these people have witnessed since 08. Some of this, they've witnessed it for the first time. And communication is vital. One of the things we did when we crock-potted our business is I look at my clients as my base shop. In the Primerica business, you got to service somebody. You're either servicing your base shop by motivation, training, right? Getting people to trips. Have you ever seen the company slow down? No, they're trying to get people fired up and excited. Or you're servicing clients. It don't stop. See, freedom comes from building an infrastructure, which I'm going to share with you how it can kind of work and how it's put together. Freedom comes from different ways, building a hierarchy, having first generation RVPs that are self-independent from you. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
But you can also have freedom with this tsunami coming in. Okay. So understand, communication is vital. One of the things that we put in place, I want to get ahead of myself, is having a staff. I have 2 staffs work for me. I'm in the process in the next 9 months to a year to have a 3rd one put in place because the tsunami is getting so freaking big. I'm even talking about having a processor that actually writes my sales because I don't have time for that. I'm actually advising and working with people, spend 30 minutes telling them these are where we're going to go. And you see where the vision's at here? I took my typewriter hat off. I started to realize that, hey, we got to position our advisory firm to handle this tsunami. Otherwise, I'm going to be that self-employed person. Doesn't mean that's wrong. Looking at a baby pool, never having freedom. I might be getting ahead of myself, but I could see 4, 5, 6 staff working for me. Having an advisory firm where I have a processor that does my paperwork, everything. All I do is visit. I blow in, I blow out. It's unbelievable. And then as I generationally, right, pass this on, I don't even have to do that anymore. Make sense? Holy moly, I'm getting goosebumps. So let's take a look here. We're talking about $84 trillion that are going to be inherited in the next 10 to 15 years from Gen X and millennials. And what's funny, I don't want to get ahead of myself, the competition doesn't want to have anything to do with that generation. It's kind of funny. Anybody catch that? There's $84 trillion moving, and the competition doesn't even want to talk to Gen X's or millennials. Right. Unbelievable. And they're about ready to inherit it. They're about ready to get all the money from the baby boomers. That makes sense? 80% are likely to seek professional help when they inherit this money because they need help. They don't want to deal with a robo-advisor. Okay? Watch this. 70% would prefer to work with a human advisor than an automated service or a 1-800 number where you're on hold. Is anybody getting me here? I mean, 45 minutes on hold to talk to some yahoo that's getting paid 20 bucks an hour, and they could give a crap about my 401k or whatever, right? Everybody catching on?
Yep.
They want a human being. 44%, this blew my butt out of the water, are not likely to use the same advisors as their parents. So that tells me that half of that 78 trillion is going to end up in a millennial's back pocket. And what do you think a millennial is going to do if they don't have anybody to talk to? They're going to spend it on stupid stuff because they don't know what they're doing, because the industry has ignored them. Hello. That perfectly puts us in a position here at Primerica to build a freaking huge base shop of millennials that can handle this wave. You get where I'm coming from? Don't ignore that. Oh my God. It's like, all right, I'm getting mad now. Okay, I gotta be careful. Look at this. The industry needs 70,000 new advisors. These are people that are fully licensed 65s, okay, in the next 5 years, just to keep up with the growth. Because people are going to be seeking advice, new home buying or even retirement. Guys, this is huge. 70,000. How many does Primerica have right now?
I don't know. It's pretty small, 65.
It is. It's under 30. It's under 30,000. It's growing, but it's not near enough where we have to be. You see where I'm going with this?
Yep.
This is funny. 70% of advisors are struggling to make time for one prospecting call a week. Now here, some people might look at this as a negative. I get fired up about this. Picture a 62-year-old advisor working for ABC advisory firm. He has so much assets under management that he is managing called baby boomers. He or she could give a flip about prospecting. He or she is making $400,000 to $500,000 in residual income managing old money. Now, here's what's weird. Shane talks about this. The industry, I'm not talking about Primerica, I'm talking the industry would rather let those advisors die, because that's what's going to happen, or quit, take the assets under management and corporately run it. But what did we just get done saying? They want a human. See, this is how stupid the industry is. We're going to capitalize on their stupidity if you position your business correctly. Does that make sense?
Yep.
If you position your business as a yahoo, recruit, who cares? You don't have a business. Okay? I'm starting to roll up my sleeves. Sorry, Tellus. You'll have to pray for me after I'm all done, because I'll need help. Okay? But I'm telling you, it is like, we got to get ready. Is that making sense? Okay, so back to this. 37% of those advisors control 40% of the industry's assets, and they will be retired and leaving the workforce. Just round that up to 50%. That means half of them are going to be gone. Unbelievable. And here's the fun part. Less than 10% of advisors are under the age of 35. Okay, any coach here? I've been preaching a lot. Why is that? Why is less than 10% of advisors under the age of 35? I got a 20-year-old behind me here. Why do you think the industry has hardly no advisors under the age of 35? Any coach?
Because they don't believe that they can attract assets with a younger advisor, and they also think that young people are lazy.
Young people are lazy, don't have the time for them. They only got 20 bucks in their checkbook. They don't come out and say it, but they think they're stupid. They don't have time for that. But you're going to see in just the next few minutes, their infrastructure cannot be built to even service them. Let me ask you a stupid question. Some of you guys have jobs here on the phone, on Zoom, I mean. How many of you would go to work Monday morning if you knew you weren't going to get paid? I wouldn't, right? That's what the industry has done. Watch this. This is the best slide ever. The industry has lost their moral compass. They're like flipping idiots, which is good. See, Art Williams built this business on buy term and invest the difference because the industry was stupid.
Wow. They
created whole life and universal life because they were interested in only one thing, and that was profit for the insurance companies. They could give a oh man, Tell us that you're going to have to definitely pray for me, my friend. I almost, but see, listen,
I got you, Wayne.
they just don't care, man. It just makes me mad inside. That crusade just, Giroux was exactly correct. They don't have time. Well, here's why. Robo-advisors, they're turning their back on middle America. Listen to this. They don't even pay you unless an account ranges 100 grand or more. Most of them have bumped it up to 250. So my good friend back here has $20,000 in his mind. That's a lot of money. But an advisor goes, screw that. I ain't going to talk to this bozo. He's only got 20,000 bucks. I'm going to get paid nothing, right? I'd rather go talk to mom and dad who got 100 grand or more, give all my time to them. You see where I'm going with it? This is why even the people in Primerica, I'm going to get myself in trouble. I'm talking about VPs, vice presidents who have left Primerica because they went over the big fish. Why? They're stupid. Here's this dumb. Their infrastructure is not even going to support them in the future.
Wow.
I make a lot of money next 10 to 15 years, but they're stupid. See, look, they're not focused on the new generation, which is going to be inheriting $84 trillion. I mean, Eli, who's pretty quiet back here, do you think he's going to talk to some old fart, 60 years old, that's about ready to retire, who's never talked to him in the first place? So what if a Primerica person had an infrastructure that will talk to those people? Because Eli, who's my new advisor, invested $25 a month with me, and he cares. He's here for me, right? He educated me when he was only making 50 cents. See, the distribution business of Primerica is the key, is the cookie cutter, guys. That's it. That's what makes us different. We are catered to middle America. We're preparing for the perfect storm. We pay for people's securities license. I'm telling you guys, don't miss it. This is huge. Oh man. So I sat back and I thought about this instead of just laughing and going, oh, the industry's stupid, Well, I could be just as stupid if I don't build my infrastructure to cater to the over 84 trillion that's being moved. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
8 years ago, I had a very sustainable business. I was making about $250,000 a year, and I couldn't get any higher than that. I knew that I had to recruit. I know I had to build, RVPs. I'm not stupid. I understand that, but I was freaking stuck at 250. Isn't that a fun place to be stuck? 250,000. Yeah, like, damn, can't get any higher. What the hell? Then people would quit, and I did the merry-go-round. People quit, and then merry-go-round, and I just kept going over and over again. And I started to look at it, and I thought, crap, I got to have something that's attractive, not only for myself and my family, my loved ones, my wife, my kids, but I got to have something that is sound, that people would be stupid if they left. Does that make sense?
Yep.
See, if you have an ongoing income and you have an infrastructure called Primerica that you can build it, then you're prepared, because we're going to be the only game in town. They're going to have two choices: robot advisor, which is a 1-800 number, or Primerica. So who's going to get the 84 trillion? We are.
Yep.
Do you see that? Yeah. And you know what's so dumb about the corporations that are going to take all those assets under management and make it corporately owned? People will be going, why should I stay here? I can't even talk to a human being. And we'll just scoop up those assets too. So guys, start preparing your fields now. See, some people, if we're in the farming belt, the Midwest, and what's beautiful about farmers, they might look at dirt and they just start to smile and they go, man, woo, this is going to be big. But some people look at dirt and say, why are you excited? That's just dirt. A farmer sees the vision. Does that make everybody understand that?
Yep.
So you need to see the end result before you begin. And my professional opinion is you got to crock pot it. You got to work it in such a way that it's sustainable forever and can be passed on forever. Okay, so here we go. We looked at our infrastructure 8 years ago, and we wanted to position our business to get ready for this. So this isn't something that just happened overnight. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. We have a practice where we manage our base shop, which are our clients, along with my hierarchy, which is regional vice presidents, base shop. You follow where I'm going with this? And I wanted to engage with my clients. I really wanted to have fun, just like we have fun with our base shop, where they just get fired up to meet with you. See, nurturing our clients and communication is just as important as communicating with your own base shop. Would you agree? If you
Yeah.
ignore your clients, why should they stay with you?
Wow.
Now, I'm only one person. There's only 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's why I got 2 people working for me now. I have one lady that does she's on the front line of PR. She does all my referral calls, which we're going to get to in just a minute. Remember, the meat and potatoes is coming. And I don't really make calls anymore. I can't remember. Rebecca's staring at me right now because she's over here across my desk. But Rebecca is the manager of the office. She handles the infrastructure from A to Z. Now, for those that are new, that don't have that yet, I get it. Start preparing for that. You got to start putting your mind into that position. Remember crockpot? That doesn't mean you walk out tomorrow and you get it, you're right, and go hire 2 people right away because you heard this great presentation that Wayne put on. You got to evolve to that. I'm evolving to the 3rd person and probably the 4th and the 5th because it's getting big. I looked at my time lot and I said, I have no problem talking to 6 or 8 people a day, but I don't want to do 6 to 8 sales a day. Now you might think, what? I got processors that do that. They meet my staff, which they get to know my staff. So that way, when I'm in vacation in Europe next month, I don't have to take any phone calls. They talk to my staff. I got total freedom. Make sense?
Right.
So if a processor does sales, they do the ongoing program. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to prepare your fields. You got to prepare your mind. You got to put yourself. Now, listen, how attractive is that when, Aaron, when you're recruiting somebody, if you got that vision painted? What if you had a whole franchise model of how your infrastructure works? The pyramid,
Incredibly attractive. Everybody sees their role and everybody takes ownership in the vision.
amen. You won't have that pyramid thing come up. It don't come up with me.
Right.
I mean, it might come up before they see me, right? We have to change it. We got to change it, man. There's nothing wrong with recruiting. Go recruit 10,000 people, but build it to a structure that they understand, that people can look at it and say, my relatives could appreciate this. Isn't it funny how doctors, we're talking about a practice here. They get a beeper. I don't know if they do that anymore. Maybe it is a beeper, but their cell phone goes off on Christmas morning.
Mm.
And they're opening presents. Mom, dad's there because, they're older, and you got your doctor who's 35 years old, and the beeper goes off. They got to run into emergency because someone's sick on Christmas morning. And then all of a sudden they look at it and they go, I'm so proud of my son. I'm so proud of my daughter. I know she's on call, but she's a doctor. See, why does that happen? Then we have someone on Christmas morning, and they look at us like we're freaking morons. Okay, no, it's because they don't know your business.
Right.
My family knows my business. Right? They understand it. See, weird scenario, but if it happened to me, right? If something happened like a death claim or something, my parents realize that. They're like going, I'm proud of my son. I'm proud of my daughter. Because we built that structure about that, the practice and how people see it and perceive it. Is everybody relating to me here? God, like it's hard on Zoom because I just want to touch you and hold you and grab you, and that's kind of corny, but you know what I mean? I'm getting goosebumps. Here we go. See, before you can have assets under management, you need to build people under management. That's how it starts. Now we're going to get into part 2. Everybody ready?
Ready.
Just because I talked about securities and the wall of wealth and all that, that's not how your business begins. That's how it's going to end up if you build it right through the infrastructure. So here we go. Next, you got to stay in line with your leader. Please understand what I'm telling you here. Just because I'm giving you all this stuff this morning, you respect your upline, you respect your vice president, you listen to he or she. Look, you could debunk the whole damn thing. Your leader has a vested interest in you. Communicate with her, communicate with him, right? They'll get it, they'll understand, they'll get in, right? This isn't like rubbing and getting boxing gloves on. You see where I'm going with this? This ain't my first rodeo, okay? It's not my first rodeo. Stay in line with your leader. Number 2, don't call timeouts on your business because it's not going to be easy. It's not easy, guys. It's not. I'm not going to candy coat this. This is tough. But get ready. If you build it right, crock pot, Aaron, it's code. I'm telling you, you'll be thanking me for what I've shared with you this morning. You got to collapse timeframes. Keep your pipeline full. Make money today because you got to stay right. You got to stay alive by completing 6 to 8 first-time appointments every week and hire 2 to 3 personal directs per month. I love these, man. I tell you, God has such a great thing. Our Lord and Savior, man. Amen.
Amen.
Isn't it crazy? I did not even talk to you yesterday about what you were going to show from Art Williams, but this just goes right here. See, his crusade was get after the life insurance agency, and that crusade's still here. What we're capitalizing on is the same thing. You need to attract the right people. Bring those 2 to 3 personal directs in there and build it, guys, and share your vision. Map it out this weekend. You need to write it down, what your business needs to look like. Prepare for the outcome later. Assets under management, AUM for short, comes later. You know, I always, one of my biggest pet peeves, and God bless every one of you, they'll come up to me and go, wait, how do you get those $1 million trades? How did you get 800,000 last week? I noticed you moved $2 million. How'd you do that? And I think I think this is what they're hoping. I got this internet, social media advertisement and this 1-800 number, and people just call me every day. It's just unbelievable.
Right.
Hell no, it has nothing to do with that. The reason why we get those trades is because I put everything in position. I communicate with I got right now close to 600 personal, 2,000 in the hierarchy clients. I just communicate with them all the time. They're like bird dogs. My phone is going off. The reason why I got 2 staff is I can't even answer my doggone phone anymore. Calling me. And I trained them. Remember how we train our base shop, Aaron?
Yep.
We have to train our clients. That's how you build a referral machine. I'm going to share with you how to do that in just a minute, okay? You got to prepare for the outcome. Work your fanny off until regional vice president. Get in. That's why you have to get in line with your leader. Because your leader, right, with the company, that's how you get promoted. Remember, vice president is where it all begins. That's where it begins. Everything below RVP is just in training. Well, I'm a regional leader. No, you're in training.
Right.
I'm a division. Nope, you're in training. Do you realize the company? How do I say this delicately? If you're below RVP, they look at you as temporary.
Yep.
They don't treat you like you're really hired yet. You know, it's funny. We don't treat our hires until they actually, this is bad for me to say. Eli is a recruit once he has a recruit and he's licensed. That's how we treat it in the base shop. Everybody agree?
Yep.
But the company does not treat you as a recruit until you're a vice president.
Right.
Because vice presidents have a tendency not to leave as fast as Eli would. God bless you, Eli. I hope I'm pissing him off. It's good. Okay, so here we go. So what I'm doing is this, everybody catch on. You got to duplicate the system through your entire team. Duplication. So you got to make, right? You got to make income while you build for outcome. So number 1, start setting the stage on every appointment. How many times do we have to meet with our base shop and keep reminding them that the main thing is recruiting? All the time, right?
All the time.
Doesn't change. It's the lifeblood of the business. How many times do you remind your clients that you're there for them to move money in the future? Reason why we get referrals is because we're constantly communicating about with their current 401k. People go, well, I'm not making any money on that. They're 40 years old and they got 100 grand in their 401k. Why are you picking those statements up? For two reasons: to update their financial needs analysis and remind them that the first person you call is me when you change jobs, lose your job, retire, and et cetera, et cetera. Everybody catching on? I remind it all the time, just like we remind our base shop, the lifeblood of the business is recruiting. Remember, clients are your base. Oh, guess what? They're having a family get together, a retirement, a family reunion. Johnny's over there flipping some burgers, drinking a beer. His cousin walks over and he says, what are you up to? He says, man, I got this new job. Because Wayne's communicated with Johnny all the time, he says, oh, when did you leave your job? Oh, just last week. You need to talk to my advisor. He'll take care of you. Matter of fact, there's reasons why you don't want to leave your 401k with your old employer. I've trained my clients to do that. That's why I get phone calls all the time on rollovers. So I pick up retirement statements all the time. Every time I meet with them, I pick it up again. It was funny, just the other day, they gave me their 401k statement, and I always kind of help them a little bit to kind of allocate it properly for them, based on their risk tolerance and education. And I was educating them, and we were going through it, and I go, damn, this is pretty good. And he goes, well, it should be. You did it last year. I said, never mind. That's just a joke. What I'm getting at is most people 401ks are not allocated properly because it's on a default section. Not to get too techie with you this morning. So always pick up their retirement statements and update their financial needs analysis.
Right.
Let me ask you, tell us, if we can improve your overall 401k plan from your old job, would you make a change?
Absolutely.
There we go. Gathering assets, communication. One of the things that got me on a pet peeve a while back was 8 years ago, before I started putting this in position, Aaron. I had a client come in. I talked with them. We were doing an EOT, an end of term, and visiting with them. And I was talking to him, and it was one of my personal ones. So this really bothered me. So I was talking to him. We'll just use the name Fred, for example. And I said, hey, Fred, how's it going? How's the kids? How's things going? Great, super. Let's get your insurance in place and make sure everything's taken care of for end of term. We need to determine how much coverage you need, you name it. And we got onto the assets that he had. And it was probably close to $1.8 million sitting with another advisor. And I about lost it. Not literally in front of him. I was so pissed at myself. I said, well, how's he working with you? Oh, I love my advisor. He's awesome. He's great. He's done very well for us. I would never change. You see where I'm going with this? And I felt like crap. You see where I'm going with this? He didn't know. Matter of fact, I talked about investments, and here's the words that came out of his mouth. I didn't know you did that. Well, that was 8 years ago. I went home that weekend not too happy. Right? I'm thinking, wonder how many other my clients don't know that I do that. Right?
Yeah.
So I got busy. And now you guys see the end result here today in 2023, what we built 8 years ago. So I'm always looking at ways to improve, right? Make a change. If our company's financial experts, this is for the new people in there, use your experts, man. We got experts everywhere. We got experts in the office. We got experts from the home office. We got wholesalers that are just rock the world, right? Would you agree? We have the best resources in the world.
Right.
I said, if our company's financial experts could teach you how to greatly enhance your current works retirement plan and potentially make you thousands more than your current retirement allocation, Would that be an area of interest?
Yes.
Absolutely. So looking at this is kind of how you crock pot it and how you start it. Okay. Whoops. Here we go. There's 4 major areas that you need to focus on and train your base shop. I'm training you guys because we're internal, but the clients need to be trained on this. Train your clients. And then the referrals will come. If you run across anybody, you get a family reunion, get together, send it to our processing, right? We'll get you all set up. Make sense? You get your clients, training them that they're out there like bird dogs talking to people. If you change jobs, the first person you need to call is me. When you turn 59 and a half, call me. And they might pause and go, well, what's 59 and a half? Unbelievable. If those that are new, you got to get your license. There's a term called in-service distribution. 90+% of every 401k out there, you can actually move it. You can move their assets while they're still working there, as long as they're 59 and a half or older. You know that? That's part of that trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
Sean? What if you had a great CRM, client relationship manager, that tracks that 59 and a half? I'll give you an example. Mike, say I came and visited you and you were 50 years old and I helped, did the best job I could to get your 401k in a line through education. And I make a note that you have $500,000 at age 50. Well, money usually doubles every 6, 8 years. So how much money do you think Mike will have in his 401k, 9.5 years in the future? How much? What
Over
if you
100?
made a note? What if you made a note on your CRM that call Mike 9.5 years from now? But now keep in mind, I'm going to be talking to him every year. But 9.5 years, I got this big flashing sign going, Mike's 59 and a half, and he probably has $1 million sitting in his 401k. I actually have, you're going to think I'm the most geekiest person in the world. I've actually put charts together, which are, like spreadsheets that show the wall of wealth that's going to be moving as people reach 59 and a half. So I would take Mike's 401k, do a quick calc and say it'll be about $1 million. So I put his name in there, Mike, $1 million, 9.5 years from now. So I can actually see the mountain of wealth building. Now, one day I wake up Monday morning, I'm pissed off at Primerica and I feel like I want to quit.
Wow.
Guess what I do? I turn on my assets under management and I look at it and I go, holy moly, I got, $5 million waiting for me. Do you see where I'm going with this? Crock pot it.
Wow.
You know your base shop, Aaron. You need to know your clients just as well.
Right.
One of my biggest pet peeves, I'm sorry I'm on a tangent here, but they told me I could have the floor.
Yep.
But they go, well, you sales kind of people that service clients and all that stuff. I'm building a hierarchy because I don't want to mess with clients. I'm thinking, that's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Now again, that's from my own perspective, but I'm thinking to myself, what are we trying to do here? Just build a hierarchy and ignore our clients?
Mm-hmm.
What the heck's that all about? So understand, as we go through this process, I'm thinking 59.5 or retirement. So those are the 4 main ways you have to look at it. This is a brilliant illustration I'm going to go over with you on. The top 5 reasons to move your 401k. There's 5. Jot them down, take pictures, whatever you want to do. Number 1, when you look at where you're at, this is advisors versus 1-800 numbers. This is number 1. See, if you leave your money with your old 401k, or if you're 59 and a half, you have limited options. You can call me anytime for any questions, talk to my staff. We're available. You can call and leave a voicemail and I'll receive it and call you back promptly, right?
Wow.
If we look at where people are at, when you call your 401k 1-800, right? They don't have a vested interest in you. I mean, I always love it when people have their old 401k and again, if I inherited them or if they came in from a referral, I always say, I go, this, keep in mind, you have to make sure they don't have an advisor, but if you have an old 401k, they go, who's servicing that? Well, Fidelity. Well, what's the name? Who's the person that works with you? I don't have anybody I talk to. I just, whoever answers the phone. I go, man, how long are you on hold? Well, I guess it varies a little bit. Rick, you see where I'm going? What if you had a personal touch? Somebody could work with you versus a 1-800 number. Make sense?
Yep.
Unlimited investment options. See, having more options can help you develop a better long-term strategy for people's retirement savings. Most types of investments are available to you, including mutual funds, stocks, bonds, ETFs, just to name a few. Manage money. In a 401k, you're limited. Write this down. Default 401k. So you got to use words that people kind of listen and hear, and then they go, what was that? What's that all about? Target accounts are better known as default 401ks. So when I work with somebody that's got an old 401k, I go, oh, you're in a default. They go, what do you mean? What's a default? Well, safe harbor. That means nobody's looking at your money and it's in a box. You're very limited. Man, I guess you can keep your money there. I mean, the fees are very low, actually. The fees are very low. And the reason why the fees are so low is because nobody's managing it.
Right.
I don't know. That seems a little risky to put all your money in something that nobody's managing. You see where I'm going with this?
Yep.
Okay. Eligible for contributions. See, if you move your 401k, you can now add to it. The only way you can add to an old 401k is if you're working there, called payroll deduction. See, is everybody catching on? You can't contribute. So once you leave your former employer, you can't contribute to it anymore. It's just going to sit there. I hope it's allocated right. Another one. This is a brilliant one. People don't realize this, that if you leave your 401k with an old employer and that company goes through a merger or acquisition, they can actually freeze your assets up to 2 years. 2 years.
Wow.
People go, well, I like my 401k. It's cheap. Doesn't cost me nothing, 0.15. I go, what's the odds of your employer, merger and having acquisition? That probably won't happen, will it? They go, well, shoot, we're in the decades of mergers and acquisitions. Those happen all the time. It happened back in 2011. Dell Computers had a blackout period with Complement Technologies. Look at the fine print. Let me blow it up for you here. Says, typically, it could take 12 to 18 months during this duration of blackout period. You will be unable to elect or receive any distribution from your account for somewhere between 12 to 18 months until this merger is complete. How long has Charles Schwab been in the merger of TD Ameritrade? What you're doing here is you're not trying to beat up your client, you're educating them. You're telling it's a risky proposition to leave your 401k over there. Next, full taxation versus stretch beneficiary options. I think this is the last one. See, if you keep your 401k with your old employer and it's inherited, not by your spouse, but by your kids, it has to come off the books because they're not part of the benefit plan through your old employer. So if you got $400,000 sitting in a 401k, it has to come off the books and be fully taxed. So your kids would inherit $320,000, not $400,000. Over here, it can be stretched up to 10 years. It keeps it invested, a potential larger gain, and less likely to spend all their money. Because isn't that what millennials do? Yep. I've seen it happen. I had a kid that came into me just about 3 months ago and inherited close to $400,000, and he only has 80 grand left.
Wow.
Before he came to me. And the reason why he came to me is he bumped into one of my clients that says, you need to go talk to my advisor. Because if you keep on this track, you're going to be out of money. He goes, yeah, I got to. He came in, I educated him, and he didn't realize he was just treating it like a checkbook. I got 400 grand, I'm going to withdraw it all. Makes sense? So you gotta have fillers everywhere. It's unbelievable. Rebecca's in front of me. I get 1 or 2 referrals a week I can't keep up with all of it. Okay. But that didn't happen 8 years ago. We crock-potted it. Here's an example I want to share with you on a client that was on our books. In 1996, they bought life insurance with us from an agent that quit. This is kind of funny a little bit, but not funny. What happened was on the EOT, they came and visited with me in 2016. I did an end of term. For those who don't know what that means, is that means it was a 20-year term, came up for renewal at the end of term. I renewed it to a new product, converted the policy, made $400 in compensation. But it didn't end there. Because remember now, they just met Wayne. And we were starting to crockpot this back in 2016, trying to put things in position. So here's the first thing I do. I draw a line like this. I don't know if everybody can see this. On this side, I put assets. On this side, I put liabilities. When I'm sitting with an EOT, I sit there and I go, okay, EOT, I met with them. I put on the left side their assets, right side liabilities. And I write it down. I go, what is your assets? What do you have? And I write it all down. I go, how much debt do you have? Because we need to determine how much coverage you need now that we're at the end of the term. Everybody follow me? Well, guess what came up in the conversation? $648,000 old 401k just sitting out there. Her comment to me is she says it's with Fidelity. It's a big company. It seems to be doing pretty well. Because if you remember 2016, pretty much everything was doing all right back then. Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Market was doing okay. And she goes, I educate her about the 5 reasons why you want to move it. She says, well, heck, yeah, I need to move it. I did an F&A. I found out the husband has more money than that, but it's at his current job. So what I do, Mike, I put it in there. When is he going to be 59 and a half? You'll see that in a minute. I made $20,000 plus $400 doing the end of term conversion. Watch this closely. Next thing that happened is I reviewed consistently. We got back together in 2018 and I put in this referral machine you're about to see here. And I got all their 4 children to come see me. Why do I want to see their kids?
Yeah.
Who's going to inherit? Let's go back, let's review. Who's going to inherit the $648,000 if the parents die?
The kids.
Their kids.
So guess what? I got to get the kids to know me. Got relationships with all of them. Set up Roth IRAs, didn't make that much. Did a little bit of life insurance. Most of them were single, actually. So they weren't qualified market, but it didn't matter. I got to know these kids because they're going to inherit it. In 2020, I did another review with him. We did $250,000 rollover because they changed jobs. Remember, I trained my client to call me. So we made $7,000 in comp there. 2020, we did a review of his 401k with her husband, and it now was up to $550,000. And he was contributing $27,000 a year in contributions. It's unbelievable. These people are big, big clients. You'll see what I mean here in a minute. So in 2020, I'm sitting there going, okay, when you reach 59 and a half, we got to move that. You see where we're going with this? That's 37,000 of comp there. 2021, the wife, 59 and a half. She moved hers, right? 30,000, that's another 7,000. We do workshops. We communicate with our clients, guys. It's a blast. I just come in and my whole calendar is full, and then I just block off when I want to go play. I always tell my team, I work my ass off in 2 different areas with my clients and when I screw up. I'm good at both of them. I'm very good at both of them. Okay. See, workshops, they found out through one of our vendors about the mega Roth because they have so much taxes that they pay. They make combined together in income about $600,000 a year between the husband and the wife. They were looking for anything they could do. We talked about the mega Roth. They are now doing switchovers. 20,000 a year comes in over here through what we call the mega Roth contribution. When they retire at age 65, we're estimating another $13,000 of future comp. This is all in the spreadsheet. That's $89,000 from one family.
Good grief.
That is just a taste of the tsunami that's coming. What if you had 400, 500, 600, 2,000 clients? Now, they might not be as nicely put together like this client example, but even if it's 30 or 40,000, you catch where I'm going with this? And then one thing I couldn't even add on here is these kids. What do you think these 4 adults are going to inherit when their parents die? That's probably going to go to my kids that I'm building a business, because that's called the double wave. Or these young advisors that are moving up. You see where I'm going with this?
Yep.
Follow up, follow up, follow up. You got to set the stage at every appointment. Workshops, insurance and EOT reviews. Once I fill up the page, I'll let you guys take a picture, or if you want to write, that's fine. Investment reviews, Roth conversions, backdoor Roth. I'm giving you a flavor of what we're going to be teaching on in the future. I'll teach you all this: the mega Roth, the backdoor Roth, in-service distribution, Social Security reviews, Medicare review, retirement income planning review, beneficiary reviews, and the will process, which I call the secret sauce. You're going to see that here in a minute. So take a picture of that and understand that you can always follow up with your base shop, which we call your client base shop. Having a staff, having people in position. My good friend Dro, RVP of mine, if you're weak in areas, because we all are, would you agree we're all weak? We're not like super studs and good in everything. Like technology sucks for me.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you there, Hector. I appreciate you saying that. Okay, but here, right? So we're not good at everything. That's why you hire people. Be quite honest with you. I'm so freaking busy. I don't have time to call referrals. I get referrals. In the past, I used to get referrals and I go, yeah, now I got to call them. I don't want to call them. I hired somebody who was good at that. They love calling them. And it's like, I get all the time looking here and I'm like, got it. Who is that person? I don't even know who they are. I did one in Florida. I had a client just last week, was talking to her niece who lives in Florida. He's got a business down there. And the client called me real quick and says, my niece wants to talk to you. Are you licensed in Florida? I go, yes, I am. Okay. And away we go. He's starting a brewery business. We're getting things set up, man. I mean, it was unbelievable. He goes, golly, this is unbelievable what you guys do. And we have follow-ups where we put people into this system. So set the stage. I know it's called a 4-letter word called work, but doggone it, you don't want to miss this tsunami, correct? Or do you want to keep selling typewriters?
Nope. No typewriters.
See, the will process is the bomb. I talked to Erin here, I don't know, it might have been like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I can't keep track. And she goes, I want to hear that referral program. What? How's that work? Well, I gave you part 1 of the referrals, which is training your clients. And they're like bird dogs, follow up, follow, follow. But here's the secret sauce. We were doing these wills, and let me give you the long story short. And this is going to sound funny, but I'm like, people don't do it. I mean, I set up the prepaid legal based on the will process, and nobody does it. They get lazy, they forget about it, and then they call you back 2 or 3 years later and they go, what's this $28 coming out of my account? Oh, that's your will. Oh man, I need to do that. I never got around to doing it because I'm over here doing other things. I don't have time to follow up. Well, Rebecca came to me. Oh gosh, I don't know. This might have been 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know. I lose track of time. He goes, Wayne, we need to talk about this will process. I have an idea. So I'm giving her full credit on this. This is hers. We just capitalized on it. That's why you hire smart people. Here's what happened. She goes, I think we could kind of really turnkey this thing and make a machine out of it. Now, some of you have heard this before from a school about 1 year ago. I think I did a school for Shane, but here we go. It starts with the prepaid legal membership. We all know that. Some of you might know what the brochure looks like. You sell the process, about a $28 program. The longer you're in the membership, you can build up to 300 hours of trial time, and it's got a lot of bennies. I would suggest never to cancel it, but part of the process is we need to get that will in place. As soon as I hand them the brochure and I sign them up for membership, I give them a will kit. And that will kit has the printout of the questionnaire. So follow me here. Now keep in mind, the client's already appreciating it because they're like, all right, we're going to get this will done. But it doesn't stop there. If you have a partner or a spouse or a staff member, whoever it is, it just needs to be somebody other than you. Remember, you don't do the follow-up. You put them in a queue for follow-up with constant reminders, because our average turnaround for people to do their will, even with the most perfect system, usually takes 3, 4, if not 5 weeks before they get the paperwork back to me, because they just forget. Even though the project only takes 15 minutes, they just are slow at it. So my staff reaches out to them, follow-ups through texting, or your partner can do this. Hey, I want to make sure, I want to know if you got that will kit put together. Now track with me here, just here. You're going to see it, the secret sauce in a few seconds. You're tracking with it. As soon as they get their project done, which is their will kit, they get it back to us. We send it with our own stamp to the law firm. Now keep in mind, we haven't made a lot of money here, but I'm going somewhere with this. As soon as the client gets the will in the mail from the law firm, the yellow packet that has the will, the next step is for you to come to our office and bring 2 witnesses with you that cannot be family members. Bring them back to our office so we can finish up and notarize the process. Now, anybody catching on what we're doing here? We hand them a gift called the family love letter, along with notarization. Everybody's at the table, everybody's laughing. It's about a 10 to 15 minute process. The 2 witnesses are in our conference room. Our notary, which is Rebecca, notarizing everything. Everybody's signing, and you got a lot of pens and paper going around in a circle. It's kind of fun, and you're laughing. Thank God we got it all done. And we're making jokes, talking to the witnesses, going, they probably owe you big time. Yep, great, super. And you know what? Without fail, as we're building relationships with the witnesses, they go, how much does this cost to get done? $28. They look at the wife. She looks back at her husband. Damn, we need to get one of these done. What do we need to do? Well, I'm glad you asked. You need to bring all your statements, every asset, everything you got. We'll make an appointment next week for you. Go talk to my staff right up front. We'll set up an appointment, and it's a professional turnkey system. We set up appointments with the witness. They bring in all their assets, everything they got. I know their liabilities. I know everything. Oh, just the other day, a witness came to me and I said, what are those blue things? I don't know. Something to do with infinity banking.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Wow.
Now I could have, that's a process. Now look, your challenge is to take the meat and potatoes today. If you're a VP, and if you're like Wayne was 8 years ago, let's get this puppy in gear. Our income, guys, went from 250,000 stuck there. Took me about a year or 2 before I got it almost to 300, because I was still training my clients. The 3rd year, I was a little over 300. Still not going anywhere, working and working and working. And then all of a sudden, boom! Unbelievable. Guys, what I'm going to end with you on is called Gubani. Stands for get out of bed or not income. That's a sweet spot.
Wow.
When you don't have to worry about a paycheck. Most of you guys know my good friends here, Gordy Bohannon. He has built a financial advisory firm that is huge. He's like a beneath, well, you know, he's huge. Look at the whole process. You know, here's how it works. Here's how Gubani works. You're a vice president. The average rollover is 250,000. You do one of those a month. That's 3 million a year personal. You develop 4 to 10 licensed agents, and keep in mind there's no limit, and teach them what you know. So you do 3. They do 3. You do 3. They do 3. They do 3. They do 3. Everybody catching on?
Yeah.
The 6th year between yourself personal and them is 45 million of AUM under management. Now you got to have all your licenses. What I'm about to share with you is managed money. How many companies in the United States after working 6 years have a pension plan that I'm about to share with you? Nobody. I mean, nobody. Nobody has that. 45 million. What? Unbelievable. Here we go. This is called trail income. See, managed money example I'm about to show you guys is if you do 25 million personal, the average advisory fee is 1%. 1% of 25 million. Everybody get right? And you get paid 62% of it. That's 12,000 a month or 147,000 a year. Your base shop overrides another 39,000 a year off of that. I'm going to tell you right now what's beautiful about Gubani. Why would you want to leave if you're bringing in 200,000 a year, whether you work or not? That makes sense? That just got me stoked. I was like, holy moly, this is only my 6th year. You know what I hate about this slide, Aaron, as we wrap things up today?
Whew.
I can't even put the numbers down that are accurate. Because you know what's so moronic about this with the wall of wealth? Do you really think your base shop and you personally can only do 3 million? Right now, when I started, we averaged 300,000 a month, just like it says at the top. When we started our project 8 years ago, we were doing about 258, 300,000 a month, Mike. That's what we were doing. Today, we do at least about 1 million a month personal. Some of it you don't even see show up on the scoreboard because they're called internal upgrades. The company doesn't give you credit for internal upgrades, but the compensation comes in. Okay, 1 million. And if you teach your base shop, you're building assets under management to 45 million. I look at this. So let's have some fun as we wrap it up. Help me with some math. Who? I was going to pick on Eli here. Who do we have on the on Zoom? Because we're about done. That is under the age of 30. Do I have a volunteer? Anybody?
Yes, sir. I'm 25.
25. Who am I speaking with?
It is, sorry, Ethan. Can you see my video?
Oh, Ethan. Okay, I know Ethan. So you're 25 years old.
Yes.
Okay. The rule of 72 says your money will double 8 years. So help me out here. Today you're 25. 8 years in the future, you're
33.
33. Another 8 years later, what are you?
41.
41. Another 8 years later, what are you?
49.
This is a recruiting presentation, by the way, guys. Watch closely. What is another 8 years later?
57.
And let's do one more. 8 more years.
65.
Ooh, man, you're like the poster child of an example. 65. So here we go. Now pretend that your base shop is lazy. Let's pretend you're lazy. You stop working after 6 years. You're making 186,000 a year. So you're 33 years old, making 186,768. And for some reason, you have this big base shop meeting with you and your team, and you go, listen up, guys. Don't take any more assets. We're stopping. We're not working anymore. Stop it. Let's just ride this wave. First of all, Ethan, would you do that?
No, not at all.
No, you wouldn't. Okay, but that's why it's so hard to share this presentation, because it's probably not true. You're going to be making a lot more than what I'm about to share with you. Here we go. 186. It doubles. So I'm going to get a calculator out so I don't make any mistakes. Times 2. That's 373,000. You writing down this, Ethan? This is what you're at 41. Let's do it again. Times it by 2. You're at $747,072. Let's times it again. You're at $1.4 million. Let's do it again. And you are at $2.9 million for 6 years worth of work. How many pension plans in North America pay you $2.9 million for working only 6 years?
None that I know of.
Am I the only psychotic person in the world? I'm like, you know what I hate about this? I wish I was 25.
Right.
I'm like praying to God every day. Can you make me younger? Can you make me younger? Right? It doesn't work, by the way. But This excites me, man. It gives you goosebumps, man. You're like, woo, unbelievable. So the Rule 72 works for you in favor of this. But what's so jacked up about this, make sure on your 6th year, Ethan, that you have a base shop meeting and make sure you tell your boys or girls or whatever, don't bring any more assets in. Because I only want to make 2.9 million. That's the max.
Wow.
That's what I want to. That's it. You see how fired up you are? And you know what's really weird and what's jacked up here? What did I say the average rollover is going to be in 10 years? Anybody remember?
In 10 years, I remember 250,000. I apologize.
250 is how you started. 10 years in the future, what do you think the average rollover?
500. I mean,
Oh.
500,000.
500, 250, 750, maybe a million. Do you remember? Husband and wife are both retiring.
Yeah.
So it's about a million. So I can't even put a chart together to explain to you where you'll be at. Is Primerica the greatest opportunity in the world? Yeah.
Woo!
But you got to build it. You got to put the infrastructure in place and you got to put everything in place. I'm telling you, crockpot it, start talking your game, have base shop meetings, talk about the wall of wealth, get people jacked up. If you have a 60-year-old on your team that has no money in their 401k, I taught this to Mike. Remember that, Mike? If you got a 60-year-old that has no money in their 401k, I can teach them in 6 years how because they couldn't even put enough money away in their 401k to retire.
Right.
Ever met somebody at 60 that says, I'm never going to retire because I have no money?
Yep. Breaks your heart every day, y'all.
Breaks your heart. You could tell them, hey, you come part of our team. In 6 years, I can put you in a position where you're making 186,000 a year. Make sense? So I'm all done. I went over. I apologize.
Don't apologize.
But guys, I love each and every one of you. I'm a stockholder. I shouldn't say it like this. What a way to end. I want you to win. Okay. I want you to win. I want you to win. I hope you, God bless you, that this was good. And I got the cylinders working here as we finish up today.